Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I thank all of our witnesses for a very lively and informative discussion. And I was thinking last month marked the 50th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. And at the time of his assassination, Dr. King was focusing the civil rights movement on economic justice and the opportunity gap that exists in our country. Instead of building opportunity and rewarding corporations that invest in America and American workers, the Republican tax bill mortgaged our country by $2.3 trillion to subsidize corporate special interests, millionaires, and billionaires. I'm deeply disturbed that Republicans champion dramatic cuts of $17 billion from food assistance, $8.8 billion from housing, and $1 trillion from Medicaid to pay for their tax scam. I am disturbed that businesses, instead of investing in workers as the Republicans promised, are padding the wallets of wealthy shareholders and crowing about how the tax cuts will allow them to slash jobs via automation. I'm deeply disturbed that Chicagoans tell me how this law is bad for small businesses, like David Boris, the co-owner of Hell's Kitchen Catering in Chicago, who serves on the executive committee of the Main Street Alliance, a national small business network. David said, and I quote, "The new Republican tax law will not put more dollars in my pocket or cause me to expand my business. While I may see a nominal benefit through the pass-through deduction, it will be zeroed out by the limits on SALT deductibility. And I certainly won't be able to hire more employees to provide raises to my current employees. More importantly, the long-term trajectory of the inevitable cuts in social services will be devastating to many of my employees and their families. To put it simply, I am a job creator who is decidedly not benefiting from the Republican tax law. Yet multinational corporations who offshore what were once good-paying domestic jobs and profits are reaping a windfall in benefits at the expense of small businesses and middle-class taxpayers like me." End of the quote. Mr. Ratner, given the complaints that I'm hearing from people in Illinois, like Mr. Boris, could you help me better understand how companies are allocating their windfalls from the tax cuts, and how well are workers faring?
Well, as I've testified, and it's in my prepared testimony, I think the best source I've been able to come up with is this Morgan Stanley research that was done that shows that the preponderance of the benefits or the preponderance of the savings from the tax cut are going to stock repurchases, dividends, acquisitions, and workers are getting only a relatively small share. There was an allusion, I think, earlier in the discussion to the fact that the Treasury Department had attempted to assert that there was going to be something like a $4,500 a year average wage increase for individuals. I think all of the academic research, including some done by Treasury staff before this administration came in, that was on their website. The administration took that research down because they did not like that research, because it suggested that, in fact, only a relatively small percentage of a tax cut actually trickles down to the workers. There are huge benefits to the shareholders. Stocks have obviously gone up a lot since the tax bill became a reality, and higher stock prices are certainly a good thing for everybody. But let's recognize that the disproportionate benefits, again, from higher stock prices also flow to the wealthy.
Gentleman's time is expired.